He said once, I haven't left my party has left me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I started nice and early. Ronald Reagan's quote, sir, is a very famous quote indeed, and I think there's a lot of National Party members out there that feel the same way, that they haven't left their National Party, that the National Party has indeed left them, sir. Don't panic, though. The National Party of the 1950s, 60s, 70s and 80s is a long way away from where the National Party is, which is in government today, stands, sir. And as I travel around this country talking to constituents on a range of issues, one question keeps coming up is, what do we pay our taxes for? Which actually is quite a good question when you think about it, because what we used to pay our taxes for and what we pay taxes for now are two different things. And I'm talking about a time when our country prided itself on being a country with a strong economy, zero unemployment, low crime and record home ownership figures, sir. When we were then considered to be one of the best countries in the world to live. I'm talking about a time when this country understood the importance of state houses and knew that this government was the best organisation to provide and maintain those state houses and not some foreign-controlled corporation. This was a time when we had a watertight state housing and when more houses were being built in a single year than this current government can honestly put their hand on their heart and say they're doing a better job on. This was a time when we owned our own banks. We owned our own insurance companies, we owned our power stations and our telecommunications companies, sir. A time when we saw education as an investment and ensured all New Zealanders had an opportunity to further educate themselves free of charge. A time when heavy investment was put into rail as a priority over roads and our Defence Force was well equipped and ready to defend our sovereign nation. This was a time when health and law and order were never questioned because they were well enough resourced to not go without like we are currently seeing in today's economy, sir. So how does that segue into the state of the nation today, and where does all of our hard-earned tax money go to? We have sold off our major banks, and this government refuses to bank with the very own Kiwi Bank, preferring to bank with Westpac, a foreign-owned bank instead. This is a time our government have sold off our power companies. They have sold off our state insurance. They have sold off our telecommunications, and who owns those now, sir? Of course, foreign-controlled organisations and corporations. State housing is now being sold off too. To who? That's right, foreign corporations. Because this government, their or your National Party, saying that the foreign corporations are better placed to look after social housing than the government themselves. That is absolutely a living joke, sir. We've got a government triple dipping when it comes to transportation too, sir. Taking road user charges, adding fuel tax, and then putting on tolls to pay for new roads for profiteering long terms which more than pay for the original construction costs. Mr. Speaker, and what about the TPPA? We heard Mr. Voss talk about it just a few moments ago. This is a conditional, and I underline that word, a conditional trade agreement written by foreign corporations, not governments, for the complete and utter benefit of those foreign corporations, sir. Where those companies can sue our government under ISDS provisions is if that foreign company feels that their profits are going to be marginalised by a democratic decision made by our government. And how is that democracy, sir? This is not the National Party. This should be called the International Party, sir. The next election campaign for this International Party should be International Party working for foreign corporations. That's a very good slogan, actually. You can take that, it's free. This government says we can't afford it when it comes to taking GST off food or paying 26 weeks paid parental leave for families with babies, or spending money on bringing our state housing up to a reasonable code or a reasonable standard to live in, sir. But this government, at the hands of the International Party, can afford to pay $27 million on a flag referendum that nobody has asked for. They can afford to give $16 million to a Saudi businessman to build an abattoir in the Middle East that won't benefit New Zealanders, not in one iota. They can afford to give a further $700 million to China, to their infrastructure fund, sir, and I'm prepared to debate that at another time. And they can afford to give $1 billion to South Canterbury Finance shareholders to bail them out of the proverbial crap, sir. Let's not hear more affordability rhetoric from this government, from this budget, Mr. Speaker. A government, in my opinion, sir, is like oxygen. It only becomes important when it's not there for the people. Thank you, sir.